want your business to go to another level. You must try to learn and hear something new. So make the change today. So don't procrastinate and see your business grow and change. So check out Testing Results, yeah, with Tony Harris Taylor. Tony Harris Taylor. Testing Results, oh yeah, with Tony Harris Taylor. Yeah, yeah.
Y'all, I be jamming to my theme song. I hope y'all like it too. This is Tony Harris Taylor, the host of Drastic Franchise Connectors. Let me introduce myself. I am the CEO and founder of Drastic Results Marketing and Sales Coaching, where I work with Zors to teach their Z's how to network so they can turn their contacts into contracts. I'm also a network in action franchisee where we bring business owners together to build a community, get collaborations, make more connections so they can get some coaching and make more cash together. I'm the executive director and founder of the Multicultural Franchise Connectors, where we are introducing the 4 paths to franchising to women and people of color who have been underserved in the world of franchising. And I am the consultant and coach for Drastic Franchise Matchmakers. Hey, y'all. Hey, welcome to today's show. We're going to talk about something that's near and dear to my heart, and that is coaching. I spoke last week. I did some AI marketing online, and there was a lady that got on my calendar and she said, "Oh my gosh, I can tell that you are living exactly what you are meant to do. How did you figure it out? And how have you been able to grow your business the way you have?" She checked me out online. And I paused for a minute. Of course, God is in my favor, and I am living what I really want to do. But ultimately, it came down to coaching. Coaching. Now, I know that sounds self-serving. I am a coach. And the truth is, yes, I want you to hire me as a coach if it makes sense. But it doesn't matter. Every great has a coach. Tiger, Serena, LeBron, John Elway is in my head, but the other one, the Patriots one, Brady, Tom Brady. Now, Tom Brady clearly is the best in the business, all right? Why he need a coach? Why does he need somebody to tell him what to do and the plays that need to be run? He know how to pass a ball. He know the game because the coach can see what they can't see. And that's why all the greats have a coach. And how in the world can you expect to grow a business and it's just you? Or if you're a franchisor, you got all these people around you who ain't gonna tell you what you should be hearing. They're gonna tell you what you want to hear because it's their job. You have to hire and pay for an outside source who will tell you what you cannot see. And it is sometimes painful. But all that you see from Tony Harris Taylor, I was coached to it. Now, I may have taken what the coach gave me and made it my own, but I consistently have someone who can see what I can't see, who has ideas I don't have, who knows people I don't know, who has experience I haven't had. So today's guest is my dear friend, John Francis, one of the first people I met when I started coming into the franchise space. And John Francis, better known as Johnny Franchise, is a Zor coach. And we're going to have a real conversation about Zors and Z's. Z's, I need y'all to hear this. You think your franchisor is your coach. They are not. Yes, they have an element. My franchisor, he has an element but he's too close to it again, because my success is his success. He's so close to it that I need to hire outside people who can see. And right now I'm working with a mindset coach. Tony, the drastic lady, needs a mindset tune-up. We all do. So we're going to come right back with my guest. You can see I'm already passionate. I'm 6 minutes in. Johnny Francis. We're going to talk about this coaching thing and some strategies for your success. And let's get y'all, find your coach. Let's talk to Johnny about it. We'll be right back after this message. All right, John, let's talk about this coaching thing. Introduce yourself.
Thank you, Tony. I appreciate that. My name is John Francis. I'm up in the Twin Cities in Minnesota. I was born into a franchise. My parents started a hair salon franchisor before I was even born. So I grew up, I'm the youngest of 5 kids. And my dad was a barber cutting hair in Minnesota in the 50s. And he was a frustrated entrepreneur. He wanted more, and there really wasn't much more in the barbershop business. So he created a new model. And in the 60s, it was called The Barbers. Not a great creative name, but a great model and a great market. And he was a classic entrepreneur, made all the classic mistakes. But by the time I was alive as the youngest kid, things were already going. And so I thought everybody owned 2 or 3 businesses. I thought everything was a franchise, and I thought everybody worked for themselves except the people that worked for us. And so as I got older and grew up and understood the business, I realized that not everything is a franchise, and not everything should be a franchise. I understand that. The business was pretty successful in the 70s. It became a national brand. Probably 250 stores at that time was a big deal. And in the 80s, I was in high school and college. We developed different brands. Other segments of the salon industry is highly segmented. And so we had full service, appointment-based salon spas. And then we had low price, quick service, no appointment-based, salons and for families and kids. And then we did acquisitions, we did international, we did a lot of things. It was a fabulous franchisor. I was a franchisee. I was the franchisor. I worked my tail off for a long, long time, and I enjoyed it. It was I loved it. It was a great opportunity. I learned a lot, and the business grew. And my dad was smart enough to bring in some talented executives along the way, and he was one of those founders who finally got out of his own way, which even if it was difficult and probably later than it could have been, it was a great outcome. And the business thrived and expanded, and it was good. It was a good outcome. We sold that business in 1999, and that was kind of the first first major milestone for my career.
So I want to put a pin in what you said. Your dad got out of his own way.
Yeah.
All right. So your business today is helping franchisors get out of their own way.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that part. When they are the founder franchisor, what are the biggest obstacles you see that hold them back?
Control, struggling to keep control, struggling to keep their, they have, it's unconscious, I would say, but they don't want to be becoming irrelevant, which never happens, but it's a fear, and fear drives behavior, and it's a great motivator. I saw my dad, he was having fun. He wanted to do everything and touch everything and know everything about every decision made in the whole organization. That was unreasonable. He was a bottleneck, and he created unconsciously, but he created a lot of headaches that the team had to overcome. So it took some time, and it wasn't easy, and it wasn't pretty all the time. I watched this, I lived through it, but ultimately they added structure, and accountability became a real thing. And that is really what unleashed the potential of the organization and the brand.
So the name of this show is Drastic Strategies for Zor Success. So number one thing, get out of the way.
Yeah, there is a phenomenon called founder syndrome. If you put that into Google or whatever, it's a real thing, and I've seen it, and I've had clients who struggle with it, and once there's an awareness, then you can deal with it. And it's a matter of helping the founders see that they're more effective if they are able to let go a little bit. And people are able to let go when they have confidence in the team, and there's a structure that allows for performance and accountability. And so I'm a big advocate for those kind of things. I like to say my gift, or my superpower, if you will, is to help founders become CEOs. And it's a different role, it's a different mindset, it's a different set of skills, and it's not easy, because when you're the founder, I mean, it's your baby, and I get that. It's like a part of you, and you don't want to let it go and let somebody else take care of that, and be responsible for it. But if you do it carefully, properly, and there are some appropriate sequences and systems and techniques, it's not overly complicated, but it is not by any means easy. So simple does not mean easy. And I've seen it enough. I've lived it. I've done it. I've helped several brands and founders achieve that sort of transition, and watch their business thrive and expand beyond anything they ever could have achieved on their own. So it's a lot of fun.
So you heard me talk about the importance of coaching in the opening. So when you are talking to Zors, what are the reasons that they are like, I don't have a coach, or I don't think coaching is for me?
Sometimes people think they can't afford it in terms of time, which tells me that's a bigger problem, right? Because when you say, I don't have time for that, what you're really saying is that's not important to me right now. Because if I was your spouse and I called and said, hey, I got a problem, let's deal with it, you would drop everything and go deal with that, because that's important to you. In my world, my children, right? I'm married, I love my wife and my kids. If nothing's more important, if my wife or kids call, I'm available for them, because they're most important. Correct. So when you say I can't afford it, or it's too much time, and you're saying it's not important to me. And in the founders conversation, that tells me they don't understand what they don't know. They don't know the difference. And so I frame it in a way usually by asking questions to get founders to see what they missed, and to see what the potential could be if they were able to really let things go and do it in a safe, organized, careful way. A lot of founders think that their business is too small, or we're too early, we're too busy, we're just trying to get everything. They want to put dots on the map as fast as they can. Well, that's important, but I would say quality versus quantity, especially if you own it, right? When you own it, it's yours. And if you want to grow something, you got to start with stable, right? To grow something bigger. So stabilization. A lot of times I see founders solving the same problems over and over, or they feel like a fireman. They're putting out fires like, oh, this popped up and then this popped up and then they got to go fight those fires. Well, that's not always an effective use of their time and attention and resources. So I have a way of helping founders recognize that there's a higher and better use of their time and resources.
Correct.
But
So you heard me.
they have to free themselves up to focus on those higher level activities.
So you heard me in the monologue talk about Brady and Serena and Tiger and LeBron. And why do these greats feel like, why do these greats have coaches, but people who want to be great don't think they need a coach?
Well, I think it's ego, probably.
Ego
gets in the way quite a bit. I've seen people who've had success, who made some money, right? Like, success. Most people keep score by how much money they have or how much they can spend or whatever, their lifestyle, whatever car, whatever material. And I learned early on that there's much more to life than the dollars you make and the lifestyle you have. It's how do you live your life? And I think true success is when you have control of your time. And you're able to choose what you do and when you do it and all the rest. To me, that's more valuable than the dollars. Money, I tell my kids, I got teenagers, and they hear me, I give them a lot of advice, right? And I say, money's the easiest thing to replace. I can make more money. That's fine. Time, no, I have everyone has their, and as you get older, I'm starting to understand that, it's even more and more valuable because I don't want to waste it. So to me, sometimes unlocking that understanding for a founder to say, with me as a coach, or even if it's not me, there are ways you can free up yourself to focus on the things that are more valuable to you as an individual and to you as a business owner and to you as the leader of the organization or whatever role you want to focus on. And really all of it together needs to be aligned and then consistency. I see people you got to break some bad habits to create new ones sometimes. And that's hard to do alone. Yeah. But when someone who's been there and done that and helped other people do it, they know different ways. There's not one right answer. There's usually more than one right answer, but trying to decide which one is best for you at that time in that situation and all the different circumstances. Having an outside point of view, I think, makes that a lot easier and a lot faster and a lot more effective.
Right. Yeah. Listen, we got to take a break because my producer is going to get on me. So a quick break, but I want you to think about during the break a success story you can share. Maybe some of the people who had the patterns you just described and how you helped them. We'll be right back with John Francis.
Another government job or your own business. Decisions. Jobs are no longer secure. This is the reason you should consider your own business. Start from scratch? Risky. Franchising gives you a business with a blueprint and 8 out of 10 are successful. Plus, 63% aren't food businesses. Some are even home-based. Options are power. Download your free guide and see if franchising is your next move.
Are you a corporate renegade? That is someone who is frustrated with the rat race of corporate, or maybe you were recently laid off of your job. Or perhaps you're an entrepreneur looking for your next stream of income. Hi, my name is Tony Harris Taylor, and I want to invite you to have a conversation with me about how franchising, becoming a franchise owner, can take your life and business to the next level. It did for me. I purchased my franchise in 2019, turned around my primary business, and now I want to help others to do the same. Hop on my calendar and let's chat about how franchising can take your life and your business to the next level. Talk to you soon. All right, we're back with
I
my
love it.
friend and my client, John Francis. So let's talk about a success story. Maybe they had missing some of the pieces that you talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Tell me
Yeah.
about some.
Well, I can think of several. I'll try to. I want to. I don't want to break any confidence, right? So I
Right,
won't
right.
name
Keep it
names or brands,
anonymous. Yes.
but I'll give you a particular case. So this gentleman was a guy, founder, great, smart guy, very capable guy. He had grown his franchisor system, and it was I would say it was a B2B service provider, right? And he had expanded the business and had a pretty solid team, but he had moved away to a different part of the country for health reasons, actually, for his family. And so he was kind of the remote worker before there was a lot of remote workers, and he would travel and commute, and he thought he had his hands on everything. What happened is the office that he had sort of left behind, they started figuring things out on their own and making decisions without him being included. And he would find out about things after they were made, decisions were made and implemented, and then he was playing catch up, and he didn't like that, right? He was 100% owner, so he was the founder, the CEO, and the owner. But he had he thought they were going to run themselves, and of course they never do. So I come along, and he was in kind of a bad place. He had seen me speak at a conference, and he came up to me afterwards, and he says, I think you could help me. And I said, great, let's talk. So we talked, and then we stayed in that conversation for quite a bit. I talked to him at dinner that night, and the next day he came to me and he said, I've been thinking about it, and I really think you could help me. I said, well, let's figure it out. So I engaged with him, and I went pretty deep, pretty fast, because there was some things going on that were, I would say, pretty sad and unfortunate in his business. The term mutiny was like, what is, these people are out of control. So I gave him some strategies and tactics to regain control. But then I said, you really got to add the structure. You made the shift too early. You didn't have the appropriate structure for accountability and alignment and monitoring and decision making. He just kind of left. So I helped him put in place some new procedures with the team. And a lot of it was explaining not just the what we're doing, but the why we're doing it. And I created in his mind, the certainty that if he followed all these different components and built layers of these tools into the organization, he was going to get the control back without getting in the way. And that was a delicate thing, but it worked. And then we got deeper into the organization and started doing some other things. That the next challenge for him was scale. I said, there's a difference between growing a business and scaling a business.
Yeah.
And so we worked hard to show him why that was the case, and then what to do about it, and really let the team be part of the solution here. Being the founder doesn't give you all the answers. It gives you the title, right? But it was an exercise in helping him discover and letting his team discover what really needed to change so they could not just grow, but actually scale. And It worked. It took some time. Again, everything takes time, longer than you ever wanted. But he was a good leader and very capable, very well respected, very smart. But not anything that was like super rare or unusual.
Sure.
Regular guy, hard work. But through the coaching and through the work that we did together, he really transformed his whole organization. And I want to say it was about we put in. This is a franchisor. We put in an advisory council. We put in groups. We added structure. We added accountability to the team and the management team. I helped him put a board around him, advisory board for the owner to make better decisions, more consistent. I said, you owe it to your family to put this in place. If something were to happen to him, who's going to be held responsible. So we layered on a lot of work, and after, I think it was about 8 years, he had kind of achieved his vision. One of the things I start with is, what's the owner's plan? What's your plan as an owner? What do you really want for your business? Then we create a business plan that supports the owner's plan. So we had created the owner's plan. I forced him to get clarity on what do you really want and how do you want it to go and what role do you want. And then we created the business plan to execute. It took a few years, but he got to the point where he achieved his goal, and he did a private equity transaction, quite successful. And he's like, okay, great. The private equity came along, the board was transitioned, and everything kind of moved on. And I am like, okay, I think it's my time to go here. I did what I intended to do, and I didn't really need to stick around anymore. And anyway, it was a great outcome, a great experience, a great outcome. I'm very pleased for him and the organization. And I feel like I left him in good hands. And
Awesome.
yeah, I've had the privilege of doing that several times in different industries, all franchises, but and they're all a little different. They all have different situations and people and everything the same. But I just love seeing other people succeed. Right?
I know you do. And this is your second interview with me. I don't do a lot of 2 times, so I'm grateful that you said yes. And so I'm going to deviate from my normal questions at this point. And I'm going to ask you, so you weren't prepared for this question.
Okay, thank you.
So what is the most drastic thing a Zor can do? So from the Zor perspective, what's the most drastic thing a Zor can do to change their business?
Oh, well, that's a great conversation, other than sell it, right? Because I think selling a business usually creates a drastic change.
That's
but
drastic.
Assuming they don't want to sell the business right now, right? I would say look for people, systems, and tools that create alignment and accountability. Accountability is the secret weapon, if you will. When an organization is busy in chaos, I know how that feels. I lived through that several times. Versus an organization that is structured and there's true accountability, and not just top down or bottom up. I mean, all the way around inside that organization. An accountable, structured approach creates high performance. And the other thing I got to say this is if you do it properly, and it's not an overnight solution, it drives out mediocrity. Right? You get more of what you tolerate. And a lot of times the founders are afraid to make a change because they don't know what's out there. Well, if you tolerate mediocrity, you're going to get a lot more of that. So when you create structure and accountability, the performance rises and the mediocrity tends to disappear. All
right. So listen, John, time is up.
Oh, that went quick.
So tell everybody how to get in touch with you.
Thank you, Tony. My name is John Francis. My nickname is Johnny Franchise. So my handle, my brand, people know me as Johnny Franchise. So my website, johnnyfranchise.com. I can see my email and my phone number scrolling. I'm happy to. I love talking to people. I listen. I love to share.
Yes.
I say I'm not a know-it-all. I'm a share-it-all. So I'll be happy to be a resource. And if there's a fit and we can help each other, great. And if not, I'll be happy to point you in the right direction and get out of the way.
I love it. John, you are one of my favorite people in franchising. Thank you so much for being a part of my NIA family and just always being that encouraging voice to help franchisors and Z's to be and suppliers to be.
That's true. I work with everybody who's ready for help. And thank you, Tony. It's very generous of you. I appreciate that compliment. Thank you.
Awesome. We're going to take a quick break and be back with my final thoughts.
If you think franchising isn't for you, think again. Here's how Multicultural Franchise Connectors is changing the game. At Multicultural Franchise Connectors, we believe in the power of diversity to transform the franchising industry. Our mission? To empower underserved multicultural communities with the knowledge, resources, and connections they need to confidently explore franchising opportunities. Did you know that less than 15% of franchisees are minority-owned? But we're not stopping there. MFC's 4 pillars guide successful business owners in franchising their operations, help potential franchisees interested in purchasing franchise businesses, support business owners to supply their services to franchises, or assist individuals to secure employment opportunities within franchise corporate offices. MFC is designed to break down barriers and open doors. Through comprehensive workshops, mentorship programs, networking events, and expert consultations, we're paving pathways to economic empowerment and community growth. And come 2027, we'll be offering grants to help you secure the financial support you need. Join us today and become part of a thriving multicultural franchise community. Visit multiculturalfranchise.org for more information. Empower your future. Empower your community. Together, we're making franchising dreams a reality.
Awesome, awesome. What a great conversation with John. If you're interested in learning more of how you can take control, your guide to owning a franchise and building your future, it's an ebook that I've written. Just go to drasticfranchise.com. It's free. Download that ebook, take a look at it, and let's talk about your next steps in the franchise journey. As the MFC video said, there are 4 paths to franchising that you can play in, and you can dig deeper in those in the ebook. And then join our school community. School is scrolling across the screen, skool.com/MFC. You can create an account. It's a free community, and we're growing the community and starting to share more resources. So get in there and let's grow franchising together. Wasn't that a great conversation? I know the conversation about hiring a coach sounded a little self-serving, but I do not apologize, because I know that my life, my business would not be where it is if I didn't have and hire coaches along the way. I hired my first coach in 2003. I remember that well, didn't have the money, and haven't stopped hiring coaches since. So find the coach that's right for you in the area you need the most help, and grow your business, right? And change your life. This is Tony Harris Taylor saying, take a drastic step today for a fantastic tomorrow, and we'll see you next week. Bye.